Yeah. Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a Bird Gang Nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, Hunting like Randall. Season here, really time to do them in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in. What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco, and I'm here with my boy Jtuck. Man, it's Philly the podcast. Had to give him a little taste of his own medicine. Last time I was on your show, we had to listen to that terrible Cowboys music. But we in here, man. We're gonna talk a little bit about Philadelphia, a little bit about Dallas Cowboys. I feel like we're both a little bit disappointed, so we're gonna break down what's going on in this offseason. Before we get into any of that, shout out to the sponsor for this show, the Bet USA. Definitely go use code JOIN125. You get up to 125% of your deposit matched. Use the link in the bio. You help out the show. You help out everybody. Whatever. I don't really like giving out links, but that's what I got to do now. So let's get into what I do like to do, and that's talk football. So, Tuck, first of all, how have you been? It's been way too long since we've been on a show together. So how have you been?
Man, it's been a while. A long time no see, man. I've been good, man. Just grinding as usual, working hard, creating new opportunities, covering this draft, man, which I'm kind of, up to my neck in that. But besides that, man, life is good. Can't complain.
Yeah, can't. Well, man, I'm sure we can, and I'm sure we will, right? I'm sure we'll figure out something to be upset about. But
I mean, our fan bases, they'll always find something to complain about. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Even if we was going hard and all season, they'll be complaining that we spending too much money. So it's just like no one's ever satisfied when it comes to our teams unless they win it all. And that's about the only time everyone shuts up for momentarily, and then they get back to their same old.
Facts. You damned if you do, damned if you don't. So
right.
Let's just start. Let's start from the beginning, I guess. I mean, a lot has happened, whether it be retirements for the Eagles, whether it's re-signing of players that maybe shouldn't get re-signed, or trades for the Cowboys. I'm assuming that I know the answer to this question already, but I'm going to ask it. What stands out to you the most this offseason about your Cowboys? What moves or lack of moves really just stick out to you right now?
Yeah, I think what's really sticking out to not only me, but just the entire fan base is the lack of sense of urgency. We were 12-5 last year, suffered a loss versus the 49ers in the opening wild card, right? And even though we were still on the cusp of winning that game, but I don't think a lot of Cowboys fans expected to kind of be in this kind of mid-tier rebuilding mode and moving on from a lot of our quality guys. We thought that we'll probably, because we had a lot of one-year deals last year, so we thought maybe some of these guys would be in and out. We would bring in some more free agencies, go through the draft, and then add on to what we already established last year. But what we're seeing right now, we're losing core pieces from last season. And so it's frustrating from a Cowboys fan standpoint. Now, we all kind of knew about Amari Cooper's situation because of the way the contract was structured, that it could be a possibility. So it wasn't more about the frustration of us moving on from Amari Cooper. It was about how the Cowboys handle it. And I'm sure you don't pay as much attention as we do, but front office was extremely toxic and loud about Amari Cooper, his vaccination status. They were showing videos about him possibly quitting on plays. And so they were really tearing down his value. Now, we play, fantasy football. We play Madden franchise. We do all these sorts of things. You don't want to tear down the value of something you're looking to move on. Like, why would you do that? So it just didn't make sense. And since the Cowboys were so vocal, they backed themselves into a damn corner where they only moved Amari Cooper for a 5th-round pick. So it's just like, that's the frustration. Then you go to Randy Gregory's situation. I was actually traveling last week, hopped on a plane. Randy Gregory was signed, coming back to Dallas. Everything was great. Had a layover. He was in Denver. So I'm like, what is going on? And it's just like they let this little minute clause of, if he was fined or suspended, he could lose some guaranteed values. And they let that be the difference in between signing on one of your top pass rushers. And so frustrating from that standpoint. You had DeMarcus Lawrence, who took a pay cut and restructured to clear all this cap space so we can make moves. And the Cowboys have sit on their hands and have done absolutely zero with it.
Yeah, I think you guys were probably the most surprising offseason kind of turmoil. Like I wasn't really, I expected, like I think me and you talked about it during the season with the whole, Amari Cooper situation. It's funny that I think that they were, and correct me if I'm wrong, I kind of feel like the Cowboys were trying to lower their own price. Like they were trying to be like, well, we could, give you all this stuff and give you an extension, but this is what we don't like about you. So we're gonna, say all this, and it kind of bit themselves in the butt, so to speak, kick themselves in the butt. So I love to see it as an Eagles fan. Obviously, I love to see it from this side, but it is crazy. And we talked about even before the show, like we were kind of talking before, and you said at least you guys were re-signing people, and it's funny because I think that's what got us upset is that we're just re-signing people. We're taking sideways steps. Obviously, the Eagles did pick up Kyrie White today, and we were talking about that a little bit before the show as well. And I do think that he adds a good coverage linebacker to this team, and that is definitely something we need. But this is what the Eagles do, that we bargain, we bargain shop. We are looking at
because you guys went and got Riddick though, so you got a toy. You got one toy.
Riddick came into, in my opinion, he's getting paid like $4 million this year. Riddick came on a very team-friendly deal. Very team-friendly. Realistically, I thought that he was going to, and I know towards the end of his contract, he does, they like to backload those contracts. But towards the beginning and before his cuttable years, you know what I'm saying? His contract's not that bad. So he came here because he went to Temple. Like that really just everything worked out in our favor there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But other than that, it's just a bunch of cheap, 1 year, $5 million, 1 year, $3 million. Like it's a bunch of Band-Aid pickups, and it's a bunch of realistically just sideways steps. Like I really don't know how else to label it, because that's all it is. We're not getting better. We're really not getting better. And if you look at this whole division as a whole, no one's really getting, I can't think of one signing that's really stepped out.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, even if looking at our whole conference, to be honest with you, I mean, besides what the Rams are doing, of course, but it's like nothing really shook the ground besides Tom Brady's return. You're like, all right, damn, bro, we got to deal with this again. But you're starting to hear some rumblings about maybe him going to Miami. Like, good riddance, go over there. But yeah, and I feel like when it comes to the Cowboys and also the Eagles, there's kind of some complacency, right? Because like you guys were a playoff team last year, we made the playoffs as well, and so it's like, okay, we can kind of just rebuild and be in contention, but no one is making power moves to ultimately get to where we're trying to go. And for us is winning that 6th championship. So it's like, that's the frustrating part from Cowboys fans, because the window is closing. You had Dak Prescott, you had Ezekiel Elliott, like they're getting older now. And now with the opportunity with the NFC East or NFC is just shaping up, you would think like, go all in. But our owner's son, or I guess general manager Stephen Jones, that came out and said, about the Rams' thought process of going all in. He's like, well, after that, you're going to be in a little bit trouble as far as the cap is concerned. And so the Cowboys organization cares more about cap space and winning deals than putting a winning product on the field. And so Cowboys fans are livid right now, and rightfully so.
Yeah, and it's funny because, as a Cowboys fan says Steven and is cheap, he's cheap. Right, Eagles fan comes right behind and says how he's cheap. So we're going through very similar situations, which is crazy because. And I was thinking when you guys were moving on from Amari Cooper, I brought this up on Twitter. I mean, you kind of talked about it as well. Are you guys becoming a defensive-led team? But you guys didn't even really. It looked like you wanted to put some assets into obviously Randy Gregory, but he took his bag and went somewhere else.
Right,
but. I don't know. It's weird because, like you said, this whole NFC just got so weak. And a team like the Eagles, a team like the Cowboys that are always in a position to be competitive, it felt like if you took a stab in this free agency, whether it was for us a quarterback, realistically, obviously we weren't really able to get anybody that we wanted, quote unquote. But, there's a wide receiver. If you would have just threw a bag at somebody, we didn't even have any interest in Tyreek Hill. I understand it to a certain extent, but to me, it's like, why aren't you on the phone with Tyrann Mathieu trying to overpay him a little bit?
Right.
Like, I'm cool to overpay right now. And
that's where I'm at. We agree, man. Like, and that's where Cowboys fans are like, you can't overpay. Like, bro, you can sprinkle a little bit of extra cheese on it because of the value you're going to get. And so let's say you like Jaron Kearse was a perfect example. Like, they made Jaron Kearse, who was an outstanding safety for us last year, fight tooth and nail for a $10 million 2-year deal. Like, why would you even do that? If you think he's worth, 10 mil and you sprinkle him with 12 or 13, that's perfectly fine. You still have more than enough wiggle room. But I just don't know. I feel like the Cowboys and looks like the Eagles as well, just so focused on winning the deal versus making moves is going to put you in contention. And Eagles fans are just like Cowboys fans. We're passionate fans. Like, we give all this energy and it feels like we get nothing in return. Like, we get complacency and it's going to be okay. Just trust the process. And it's like, nah, I'm not.
Yeah, headache in return. That's what we get.
Right,
we
yeah,
get
headache and frustration, right.
But I mean, with the draft coming up, obviously the Eagles have a lot of wiggle room. You guys have more wiggle room now with these compensatory picks. I didn't realize how many you guys. Yeah, I feel like you guys got a good amount. You got like 2 or 3 if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that gives you. They're late picks, but they're picks
right.
nonetheless. So maybe you move up in the earlier rounds with some of them. But I don't believe that this Eagles team is 1 or 2 players away, but I feel like the lack of a free agency now puts us in a position, no matter how many picks we have, you have to hit on damn near all of them if you expect this team to take a step in the right direction. And that's tough to do, even if you got 3 or 4 first-round picks. So it really gets me nervous.
But it really puts y'all in a position to close the gap. That's the problem, because I felt like from this talent standpoint, the Cowboys were up here, and then you've had the Eagles. So now we're diminishing talent a little bit and closing that gap. And if you guys hit on those 3 first-round picks, things can change a little bit. I mean, like I said, when you posted that mock draft, I was like, damn, bro, it's kind of scary if they actually pull that off. And so that shows what they're able to do with those picks. Like for us, I've dived deep into 7 rounds of this draft, and I've done extensive research. Ain't nobody in the 5th round is going to give us the impact of Amari Cooper. I don't care who you got your scout team on. Like, they're just not. So it's like, that's the difference. If you would have got a first-round pick, okay, that makes sense. But you can't get a 5th-round wide receiver and be like, okay, he's going to be your instant plug-and-play and have the same impact as Amari Cooper. Hell no. So, that's the frustrating part. I just feel like with the value that the Eagles had, it's really hard. You guys would have to historically blow up this draft and just go completely brain dumb to not hit with those first-round picks, man. But it can happen. I mean, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
That's Howie Roseman in a nutshell. Brain dead. That is how. Like, you're very right. You're very right. Especially with the talent of this draft. There's so many players in this draft that can be day 1 start. I think that you can go into day 2. 3rd round, maybe even 4th round, depending on what position, and really get some day 1 starters, get some day 1 impact on this on roster. So I do feel like, it's going to be a game of numbers. We should be able to hit somewhere. Carlos wants to know how you would feel. And I want to talk about this as well anyways, because I know Eagles fans have his name in their mouth a lot. Jameson Williams, how would you feel if the Cowboys went ahead and drafted him?
Now, if you take away the ACL injury, he is definitely by far wide receiver 1, right? But I feel like from the Cowboys standpoint, you can't have 2 wide receivers coming in off of ACL, because we have Michael Gallup and you have Williams still in recovery. And we know with ACL, sometimes they recover a little bit earlier than expected, but sometimes it could be delayed. So it will really put you in a bind. I know Carlos is probably looking for that speed demon, that we need in Dallas so desperately, but there's other options. If you want to go with Austin out of Memphis, or, Sky Moore, like some of these other prospects that I've mentioned, Jalen Tolbert, like there's other clear burners out there that can come in healthy and still contribute. So, I wouldn't take Williams at 24 because of the Gallup situation. Now, flip it. Michael Gallup's gone and you have Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb as your 2 wide receivers. Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's get nasty and load the clip. But with Michael Gallup out and then also Williams out, that's pretty much going to be waiting on CeeDee Lamb and James Washington to kind of cover you for the first 4 to 5 games. And I ain't going out like that.
Yeah, I don't even know when Williams is supposed to meet. Williams. I don't know why I always think it's Williamson. I think it's like James Williamson for some reason all the time.
Right.
But yeah, Williams is supposed to miss like the first couple months, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. So you're looking at October-ish, mid-October-ish. I mean, for college kids, same thing with Gallup. So it's just like, you're pretty much be loading up for pretty much November from the kind of get up,
hoping that you make a run
thing. Yeah, so it's just
and you're gonna have to hope that he catches up quick.
Right. Not understanding he's still being an NFL rookie too, so he's coming off the ACL. He kind of, but like I said, make no mistakes about it, he's talented, but not.
For me,
I don't see it.
for me with the Eagles, I've said this before. I don't think that the Eagles going into the free agency, I thought that we were going to take care of that in free agency, right? I thought we were going to kind of go get like a decent veteran. Maybe we still do. There's still some guys out there I wouldn't be mad at. But as of right now, we haven't taken care of that at all. I don't care what nobody says. Pascal or whatever the heck his name is not the answer. He's not the guy that's going to go out there and be our number 2, just not in my opinion. Right. He could. Maybe I'm wrong. But Jameson Williams is somebody that, like you said, if he wasn't injured, it would be almost an obvious pick. But you look at a Garrett Wilson, you look at a
Chris Olave,
Traylon Burks, a Chris Olave. There's a lot. I'm not even that high on Traylon Burks, but I do think that he's a first round guy.
Yeah, I just dropped shameless plug. Just dropped the video on him like 10 minutes ago before I jumped on Traylon Burks. So go and check that out. But yeah, and I feel like here's the thing that I keep asking Cowboys fans: we're picking at number 24. Why are we thinking that all these caliber wide receivers would be at 24? Like, that should be a red flag, because last year you saw, what Chase and what Waddle went, how early they went, even Pitts. Like, those really high impact guys really don't fall to 24, but we're talking about Williamson, Burks. Like the first wide receiver is going to fall off the board when it comes to the Cowboys. I just don't think that's the case. And so I just feel like you can get the same value, if not more, on day 2 or even day 3, especially for us.
Yeah. How are you feeling about next year already? I know it's very, very early, right? But like, are you sometimes free agency gets you got like chomping at the bit, like, all right, I want to see this team go out there and perform. Like, how are you? Because from my point of view, right, from my perspective as an Eagles fan looking at the Cowboys, it kind of feels like you took a step. Then you took a good step with your head coach, right? And then this year, I felt like you could have took that major step, really became a team that took a nice little run into the playoffs. But then you got to just blew everything up. It just doesn't make much sense. But like, what are you feeling about this team going into next year? And do you think it's changeable, with the rest of the time they have?
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be the season where Cowboys fans really get to see, was Mike McCarthy worth it? Because historically, and I was on my guy JC's show the other night that you caught, it's typically Cowboys up here, Eagles, like there's no consistency in the NFC East. So if you're just looking at historical numbers, when people ask me, are the Cowboys going to win the NFC East? I'm like, well, if I'm just a betting man, betusa.com, right? I wouldn't put money on a team where no one has won the division since 2004. So it's just like, it's from a numbers standpoint. So, I think we're going to really see, was Mike McCarthy worth it, that he can overcome some of these issues and deficiencies when it comes to the roster and have some consistency that we've been wanting for so long in Dallas. Boom, we're a playoff team. Boom, we're a playoff team when we advance to the divisional or the NFC championship. Boom, we're a playoff team again. Now, he had that in Green Bay. Will that translate over to us? It remains to be unseen. So, the only thing that's really keeping me optimistic, to be honest with you, Joe, is just our quarterback. As long as he's healthy. And I think that was why you saw the fire and the passion from Cowboys fans last year, because it was like, all right, we got Dak back. All right, Dak back is a breath of fresh air. All right, let's go. This is going to be the year. But now it's kind of like, we had Dak back. It was 100% healthy. And the 49ers came in with their boombox and punched us in the mouth. And it's like, okay, now what's next? You know what I'm saying? So we're kind of running out of different options. So it's going to be an interesting season. So I'm not going to be pounding my chest, and I'm not making any bets. I'm not betting y'all back this year. We are good.
But the Eagles got Derek Barnett back, so that's something we could pound our chest about. Right. It's weird because it's like, the in Philadelphia, it's like the juxtaposition of statements. Like, I feel like Howie Roseman says one thing, and then he makes a statement with a signing that says something totally different. He says that he loves Jalen Hurts, and then he sends Brian Johnson, our quarterback's coach, to go have dinner with Kenny Pickett. It's like, right. What do you do? And the city that you're in. Maybe you can get away with that in, I don't know, pick a small city, Kansas City, right. Maybe you're out there. I know it's a smaller, market as far as, I know it's probably bigger now with the Chiefs being so good, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Yeah, like it's not as in-depth.
Miami, you could do it in Miami.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, they're not going to roast you for every single move you make. Philly's going to see that. And we're going to take it to the whole nother level. So I don't know if it's, and I don't know how Jalen Hurts feels about that. That's one thing that I think is getting swept under the rug a lot. We already lost a quarterback because we didn't know how to, face value treat him, right? We didn't know how to just
Right.
say he's our guy and move forward. And we're not doing that with Jalen Hurts. Now, it doesn't really matter how I feel about Jalen Hurts in my opinion. If he's going to be here next year, you need him mentally here and physically here. And if
Right.
all off season you're trying to get rid of this guy, how mentally here is he going to be?
Right.
So I wouldn't bet you this year either, right? Like you
Right.
said, shout out to betus.com. But I'm not putting bets on that one. I'm not putting bets on that one.
Right.
It's just weird. I don't know what happened to the NFC as a whole. Like, I wanted to talk about just the NFC East, but it's the whole NFC just lost all of its talent.
Right. Well, everyone except the Rams. The only people making the push is the Rams, right? And it's just like they're loading the clip, right? They brought in Robinson. They let Woods go, but it's like they're loading the clip. OBJ is probably going to return as well, so you got to deal with that wide receiver monster. I know Bobby Wagner had met with them. I'm not sure how that's moving because he just met with Baltimore as well. But like they're making the push and loading the clip, and it's just like, all right, is anyone else gonna grab a gun or do something, a rock, a shoe? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, we're good. Like I said, I'm here in Kansas City, and like just in the AFC West alone, the ground is shaking with these moves, But it's like for me, I ain't got to worry about that until I get to the end game, so it really doesn't impact me. But I'm not sure, and I said this on Twitter, and a bunch of Eagles fans kind of took it the wrong way. I wonder, with the division not being as competitive as of late, it forces teams to be more complacent. Like, you guys know, if you guys sit on your hands, y'all gonna be better than the Giants. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be better than the Giants. You should be better than whatever their name is this week. You know what I'm saying? So so it's like, all right, then you compete with the Cowboys, go back and forth. And so it's like there really just hasn't been those power moves like we've been accustomed historically in the NFC East, where like when you guys went and formed the dream team, we were sitting back like, all right, you got to do something to keep up. But like with the Cowboys, it's like we could have really put that pressure on the division. Like, all right, the Cowboys are making moves. We got to make moves. Like, nah, bro, the Cowboys ain't doing a damn thing. So we're chilling, and we're just doing the draft. So it's frustrating from both fans' perspective.
Yeah, and you look at the Chiefs and the Rams, it makes zero sense because it's like, where are they getting all this money from? One, you know what I'm saying? But it also shows you, especially the Rams, it shows you how important winning is to a lot of players. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have much money. The people are going there because they want to go there. And the money that they do have doesn't stretch that far. Because if you live in LA, you're getting half of that taken for taxes. So it's like people aren't going there for the money. They're going there to win. So I want to ask you this, because with the Eagles, I feel like it is what it is. I feel like it falls on our quarterback as far as why people don't want to necessarily come to Philadelphia. And I think it also goes on to our young coaching staff not necessarily being there, so to speak, as a team that can bring you to a Super Bowl. We're not a ring chasers, paradise, right? But what do you think it is for the Cowboys that, like, because you guys have had interest in some people and it seems like they just didn't want to go there. Is it really just the front office not handling these conversations correctly? Like, what do you think it is?
Yeah, because as you mentioned, there's two things that matter to players: winning and money, right? And so the Cowboys are caught in this situation where, all right, I could go to the Cowboys, but I ain't going to be winning, right? But then you also are not going to get your money either. So you're going to get a low market offer. So if I'm an outside free agent, I know I'm going to play on Sunday Night Football and the Stars and fans. That's all cute, bro. But if I'm not really going to a situation where I know I'm going to be competing for a championship, this team ain't did it in 26 years. And they're offering me almost $4 to $5 million less than my market value. Absolutely not. I'm not going there. So if I'm going to take a drastic pay cut, best believe I'm going to Kansas City, or I'm going to the Rams, or I'm going to link up with Tom Brady, where I know my chances drastically increase. And so, when it comes to the Cowboys, if they want those free agents that we're talking about, the Bobby Wagners, the Tyrann Matthews, you got to pay. Where them dollars at? Like, you're going to have to pay not only market value, but like I said, put a little extra in the bag to get them to come. Nobody's just going to want to come to Dallas just to get a few commercials here and there and play for the Stars. Those days are long gone. Baker Mayfield was in Cleveland. I mean, hell, yeah, Baker Mayfield was in Cleveland, had commercial after commercial. Deshaun Watson had so many different opportunities. He chose the bag in Cleveland. Players don't care about that like they used to, because back in the day, during the 90s, okay, I wanted that star power. I wanted that glow. Everybody get on TV right now, bro. So it's like you're going to have to pay and really make a compelling offer to get a lot of these guys that come in. I mean, hell, even look at Randy Gregory. He just said, you know what, something that little minute. I was going to Denver.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough. The star is no longer enough for players to stay or come.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, markets follow the stars. Now it's not like you kind of said it before. It was like the stars followed the markets. Now it's kind of like the market follows the stars. So, if you're a good enough player, people are going to figure out who you
and
are.
What people understand, because people are like, oh, look at the endorsements, Tuck. If you're not a quarterback, running back, wide receiver in Dallas, you ain't getting endorsements like that. Micah is just so damn special, he's getting it, but you don't see Diggs on no commercials like that. Like, it's just it's a false narrative that a lot of Cowboys fans have. And if I'm a offensive guard and I come to Dallas, it's not like Beats by Dre's about to give me this huge endorsement deal all of a sudden. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So nah, man.
Yeah, don't nobody want to live in Texas anyways. You guys are getting expensive now.
State tax though, but it is getting
that's true. You guys are getting expensive though. I know this has nothing to do with football, but market value out there is going crazy.
Yeah, because all them LA's people are coming to Texas and buying up houses and marking up for quadruple the price, man. So it's
it's happening in Florida as well. But Brandon brings up a good point here. We're talking about Washington. I want to make this kind of a two-part. So I guess Colin Cowherd says the dumbest stuff in my opinion, but it is what it is. Some of these people just get like too nice of a mic and media passes and think they know what they're talking about. Anyways, Colin Cowherd apparently said that he thinks Washington will be at the top of the division. I want to ask you your thoughts on that. But also I want to ask you your opinion on Carson Wentz coming back to the division. Do you think that's an even good fit? What do you like? Just thoughts on all this. Washington's an interesting place again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like Washington doesn't have talent. They do have talent, but you got to understand, man, when it comes to these mainstream media guys, like my models mute the mainstream, like they don't do draft content as intense as we do it. They don't do off-season free agency as intense as we do it, right? So they got to toss something in the air to keep the lights on. So it's easy to say, I got Washington winning the NFC East, and then every rational football fan will be like, how the hell do you have that? They'll start talking, circulating tweets, retweets, and the money is there. So I get it. I'm not going to knock their hustle, but there's no chance in hell you can be like Washington's going to win the division. I mean, you might as well just say the Giants going to win it too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just throwing darts at the board and just hoping something sticks, but trying to make something controversial for people to talk about. Now, when it comes to Carson Wentz coming to Washington, I mean, personally, I like it because they shot themselves in the foot because there were so many different quarterbacks of higher calibers kind of circulating after they did that. It could have been a Matt Ryan. It could have, maybe Russell Wilson. It could have been maybe Deshaun Watson, some of these other players, or maybe even a Baker Mayfield. So I'm glad that they kind of shot themselves early by just bringing in Carson. But like, I never really knocked Carson. I feel like he's a decent quarterback, but he's nothing to be afraid of. It's not like, oh man, they're putting the NFC East on notice. This was like, Carson Wentz, Alex Smith, like, what I'm saying? Like, it's all kind of the same thing.
Yeah, that kind of mid-tier.
Yeah. It's just a mid-tier quarterback so they can find their real solution. Because if Carson was that guy, he would still be in Indianapolis. Like, that's, like, you move on from Carson Wentz to go to an older Matt Ryan, like, that shows you the value of Carson Wentz right now. Like, because
I give Colts a lot of credit, though. I will say, like, a lot of people were roasting the Colts for going and moving on to Matt Ryan because of the contract. I think that's mainly what it was the contract.
And the age as well, too.
Yeah, but I mean, they're a team that I feel like can win now. Like, realistically, maybe a little bit tougher now in that AFC.
Right, yeah.
But they were right there, I feel like, the past couple of years. And I feel like, realistically, Carson Wentz held them back. I don't hate Carson Wentz anymore. Like, he's definitely not somebody that's invited to the barbecue. Don't get me wrong. But I don't hate him at this point. It's just, realistically, I'm glad he's here. Almost like Sixers fans were happy to see Ben Simmons come back to Philly to play, even though, the Nets roasted that tail. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my Nets. But anyways, it was nice to see that enemy come back and be able to kind of just beat up on him a little bit. So that'll be nice. But do I think he makes Washington better? No. Right. I think Washington overpaid like crazy. Like, Indianapolis was able to turn Carson Wentz, who played terribly, and you know what I'm saying, realistically is now on his third and final strike, in my opinion. They turned that into Matt Ryan and a third round pick.
Right.
That's how I look at it, because you only had to give up 1 third round pick for Matt Ryan. So
right.
I'm not I'm not nervous that he's
Still getting
in
my
Indian. I
boots.
mean, in Washington. I'm excited about it. If he does win the division, I'll be pissed. I will say that if he ends up being like the
Right.
better quarterback, and if something clicks,
Right. Yeah.
But
I
I
mean,
don't
hell,
see it.
they could have just drafted Kenny Pickett. It'll probably have the same impact. You know what I'm saying? Or Malik Willis. Now, because here's the crazy part. After Colin Cowherd said that, right? What he transitioned into? Because Carson Wentz is better than Dak. So we're doing this a whole song and dance again, man. But the real fun part's going to see what our guy Gio's going to do, man, versus that Eagles Washington game, man. Because what's this
That's
guy?
gonna be crazy. I had to think about that for a second. I was like, shout out to Gio, man. Shout
Yeah,
out to
Gio,
Giovanni. We've
man.
had him on the show and everything. He's blowing up. It's
Yeah,
crazy. Like
he's
every
a
time I
star,
see
man.
him, he's
Like
on.
star
Yeah, every
power,
time I
man.
see him, he's on the NFL Network. He's out here selling shirts. Shout out to Giovanni, man. He's a cool kid.
Right.
But yeah, it's gonna be tough for him. That's gonna be funny.
Man.
He did put up something.
Get one of those old Nelly joints. You remember when Nelly's coming with the jersey?
Yeah, that happened. Dilemma. I think did he wear that on like Dilemma or something like that?
He wore the Super Bowl too. He wore the Super Bowl too, man. Give a Eagles, a Commanders one. Those jerseys.
I think it'll be funny because now you're gonna have those guys that were saying, that Carson Wentz was such a better quarterback than.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a blockbuster game, man. That's gonna be a blockbuster game when the Eagles and whatever their names are play for the first time, man. Because
I can't wait.
I told Brunson this, man. Hey, rest in peace. Y'all mentions if Carson Wentz comes out there and outplays Jalen Hurts, it's gonna be a long day in y'all comments, man. Because Eagles fans are so bitter about everything. Jalen Hurts, and if he comes back and outplays Jalen and shreds y'all up, man, it's gonna be chaos.
I say this about
I'm good for content. I might drop a video on it.
You're gonna do a play-by-play.
I'll drop a video on it too, man.
Yeah, you're gonna do a whole play-by-play. Realistically, this is it, man. With Jalen, like, I know I've been very critical of Jalen Hurts, and I feel like it's justly, but I've been very critical of this. Is it? You have to show me one or the other. You have to either be able to improve a lot, or you are who you are, and we're gonna have to figure something out. I'm kind of leading towards the latter of that you kind of are what you are, and we're just gonna have to figure something out. But this is gonna be. We think that the offseason is crazy right now. It's only gonna get crazier.
Oh yeah,
this draft is gonna be nuts. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, it is, and like I said, for us, man, I was the one Cowboys fan, kind of took a break soon as after the 49ers game, but soon as it ended, it was just chaos for us, because the Sean Payton thing just started. It was just boom, that was thrown in our face. And you talk about having a dark cloud over Jalen Hurts and your quarterback, we have a dark cloud over our damn coach. So it's that started to happen. And then you had Jerry Jones and his, little off the field issues and stuff going on. And then you had the lack of free agency. Now we're into the draft. There's a lot going on. So by the time we get to the season, man, it's going to be exhaustion, man. But I agree. I think this draft out in Vegas is going to be completely chaotic when you can't gauge it, man. Because I'm sure you've done mocks right now, man. Mocks are looking so different.
Yeah.
I kind of found my rhythm. Okay, this guy's going to be here, man. They giving me a B for Kenyon Green right now and snatching every linebacker. Brandon Smith is getting snatched in the front. I'm what is going on right now? So it's going to be crazy out there.
It's funny to me, to be honest, because I've gotten called an idiot. So, and I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not honestly. I feel like you, James. There's a couple guys on the Eagle side that do really good, and Hunter. Not really no offense to anybody, but not really our bigger YouTube content creators. I feel like Philly Insider Podcast does a lot of really good film work when it comes to draft guys. I feel like there's another guy, Thomas Peterson, does some good, but there's 4 or 5 guys that have done some really good, and I'm not saying I'm on that level, but I've been called an idiot for almost Jermaine Johnson. I was high on him coming into the draft process. Trayvon Walker, I was told I was an idiot for having him in the first round. Idiot. And look at these guys now, top 10 conversation,
right? Which
is just crazy to me. I think it's crazy how much this has changed.
Right. And when it comes to draft content, man, I get it. And it's what? My homework this is speaking for me. I don't have to say anything, because if we rewind back to this time last year, there was only one content creator who believed in Micah Parsons because he was able to put all the extra away and just look at the player. And when I finally focused on the player, I said, oh my God. and everyone threw stones at me. It was like, how could I would never draft an off-ball linebacker, and like the video evidence is there, man. So don't never let someone discredit your work. I said, I very first player I dropped, because I'm a Florida State guy, was Jermaine Johnson. Oh, he's not even going to be a second round pick. He's going to be a third. I'm like, are y'all out y'all goddamn mind? Like,
people crazy.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, all right, so cool. You don't think Jermaine Johnson's going to be a first round pick? I dropped my video. I just sat back and watched. And now I'm thinking, damn, he might be a top 10, top 15. Like, I'm just hoping he goes before y'all can get y'all hands on him. It's just like, I know how special he is. But, a lot of people don't understand the work that goes into doing draft content. Like, it's a lot. So everyone who does it, I respect you. Like, you just got to show me your homework. Don't just be saying, Trayvon Walker ain't this. Okay, why do you think that? I don't know. He sucks. We don't need a defensive. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, bro, I need a little bit more than that. But
I'll change my mind. I'll tell you that right now. I always, if you give me, proof and reasoning to change my mind, I have no problem doing that.
Oh yeah. Really because sometimes all it takes is you might watch the two greatest games that they played in college history, and then you watch 4 other films. You're just like, okay, I see what you're saying. Like, case in point, for me, I was out on Rashawn Slater for the longest. Like, I don't want. And then my guy Rome CFT, salute to him. It's like, bro, take a look. And like, we got off that show. It was almost midnight, and I watched like 2 to 3 games. And I said, my bad, y'all. I'm tripping. I was tripping. I was tripping, man. But the games that I had, because it's hard to get access to college film, it was a bad game, So it's just like, it's all a crapshoot, man. Like I said, I always respect everyone's hustle when it comes to the draft, because it takes a lot, man. If I showed you my draft notes that I have right here, you'd be like, Tuck, this is goddamn science and insane. Like, I have everything right here, but it's a lot of work that goes into it, but I enjoy it.
It is. It's fun. It really is fun hearing like other people's opinions. Shout out to Church of Meat. That's a funny name. Church of Meat with the $2 super chat. He said, who had the best and worst offseason in the NFC East? I'll say off rip, I'll say the best. Nobody will probably agree with me here, but I'll probably say Washington had the best, because they didn't really lose anything. They added a quarterback. Like everybody else, the Giants suck. The Giants, I mean, they would have had to went crazy to be, even on that list. The Cowboys lost some key players. The Eagles really didn't do anything. They just kind of made a sideward step, but they did get Hassan Reddick.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, if you add in the draft, I would say the Eagles, because it's going to be hard to not have a good draft.
Right.
But I would probably have to say Washington. And then the worst, I would probably say you guys right now. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I think we've had the most head-scratching offseason that I've seen in a long time, man. Because I feel like, when it came down to the initial after the season ended, my most important thing was just keeping Dan Quinn. You know what I'm saying? So like, just keeping Dan Quinn. So once that kind of worked itself out, I was like, okay, I can breathe a little bit. Okay, we got Dan Quinn, and then we re-signed Kellen Moore, of course. But then everything just caved quickly. I mean, from losing Amari Cooper to Lyle Collins to losing Randy Gregory, like, there's a lot going on with this team. And yeah, I would say we had the worst. And it's like, we've done absolutely nothing to like put a Band-Aid on it. We haven't slapped the Band-Aid on it. We're still just bleeding out, and it's be like, all right, we'll let the draft cure it. Because you would think with the cap space that we clear, like, just put yourself in DeMarcus Lawrence's feet or shoes, man. Like, I did you guys a favor after you gave me a slap in the face offer like 1 year for like $10 million. It was like something like hella low ball. He said, nah, I'm leaving. Jerry comes down, he restructures and renegotiates his contract, clears almost $18 million of cap space. You're thinking of signing his homeboy, Randy Gregory. Y'all botched that deal and still haven't done anything with it. So where's my money at? You know what I'm saying? Where did my money go? You know what I'm saying? Because you franchise tag a damn tight end and Dalton Schultz, where in this draft there's so many tight ends that can have value. You do that for $10 million. Like, nothing that we've done this offseason has just made sense. And yeah, I would agree with the worst. And then I would probably give it to Washington because they just didn't do nothing. Just added a quarterback. I mean, you could probably put the Giants in there for getting a new head coach, because I felt like that was their main, thing, to add a new head coach. But like I said, they got some work to do. So I'll give it to Washington. So maybe that's why Colin Cowherd got them as winning the division because they
Yeah,
got a quarterback.
maybe we agree with him. Maybe I need to change the title to this. So Washington
Right.
is winning.
Right.
They're going to win the Super Bowl. I know George
Right.
Carmi would love that.
Right.
I mean, realistically, I think the NFC East is just, it's sad right now. I don't know what happened. I feel like when we were growing up, the 2000s, we were powerhouses. There was always competition. And, I know I came at your neck when you put this up with the whole, the Cowboys not necessarily having to go crazy in free agency or draft or anything because it's been so blah over the past really 15 years in the NFC East. Right. So I mean, I agree with you. I do, because I think it works both ways. I think the Eagles have gotten complacent. They know that they're going to be able to pull off 9 wins in this conference most likely, and that's cool for them until they find at least a quarterback that they feel like is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. But that's what it comes down to, and that's what people are going to hate me, and I love it. I love that people hate me because I don't care. I know that that's really what this comes down to, is that they don't believe in their quarterback. If you believed in Jalen Hurts, you would have done something. You would have paid $20 million to get him a number 1 wide receiver. Right. You would have. Right. You just would have. There's no doubt in my mind. Like, the defense, maybe you would have said, let's just try and figure it out during the draft. But you have a lot of money. And I don't want to say a lot, but you have enough money to get some really good players to help him out. And I just don't believe that they think he can do it. So why spend the money, right? Like, if you spend the money on a Tyreek, you're going to be paying $30 million to a guy that your quarterback you don't believe can get him the ball. So that's what it comes down to for me. I don't know what you guys don't believe in.
We don't believe in a lot of stuff. We don't believe in paying any players. But I feel like when it comes to Jalen Hurts, and why I kind of had you guys maybe winning the division as of right now, is because Philly figured it out. All right, he's not what we need him to be. He's not going to be the quarterback that can air out 30 plus times, but he can run the damn ball. We can run the read option. He can protect him. So I was like, it's kind of going back to what I said on Monday night. It's like making the offense kind of like how we did for Dak his rookie season. We ran the ball, just made things simplified, moved the chains, and it really allowed him to get into a rhythm. So if the Eagles continue what they built off of last year with the run game and simplifying things for Jalen Hurts, I think he's perfectly fine. Now, if they really want to go into a different direction and they want to air it out and get wide receivers involved, then they're going to have to rip the cord and go find somebody else, because that's not Jalen Hurts' game. But I think it's just finding out what works best for Jalen as of right now and growing off of it, which I think you guys did at the end. Because, like, we know that first game because you was there. Like, y'all was trying to keep up with the Cowboys, and you know what I'm saying? So eventually y'all figured out, nah, we can't do that, bro. So we just going to run the ball, muddy the game up, play solid defense, and try to get out here with the ugly, dirty victory, and it worked in your favor. Because as much as people want to call us the NFC least and talk down on us, we had 2 playoff teams. No matter how you flip it, oh, Dak's numbers are inflated versus the Eagles. Well, the Eagles made the playoffs, bro. It's a playoff team. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, so what is we really talking? So I feel like when it comes to the NFC East, the talent is there. But putting it together when it matters and just being consistent and keeping all the pollution out, that's just not what we do. Like, we just toxic fan bases, toxic organizations. There's always something going on. But make no mistakes, like the Eagles can beat anybody on any given day because the talent is there. It's just seen it on a consistent basis.
Yeah, and like you said, it comes down to us. You brought up the running game, which is awesome because it is what became our identity. But I get nervous still to this day, that we're going to just give up on that identity and say, listen, all right, Jalen, you had an offseason. Can you throw it 90 yards?
Right. Yeah.
Like, so I get nervous because that's just what we do. That's what we do. So it's nerve-wracking because I don't want us to be in the middle again. I don't want us to make I don't want to say I don't want us to make the playoffs, but I don't want to be in the same lull, right? That we're like sitting here like, well, Jalen is a playoff quarterback now, right? He did make us to the playoffs. I want to answer. I want to solidify the answer. Are we going after a quarterback next year? Are we going after a quarterback this year? I wouldn't be against it. I really wouldn't. And it's going to start getting to that point, closer to the draft. We're almost done with the mock draft. So that's pretty fun. But it's going to start getting to that point that I'm going to start saying, look, we have to be open to the fact that the Eagles might realistically take a quarterback. And I've done a couple, mock drafts where I've taken a quarterback at number 15, and still been able to build a very good team around him. So I don't know. Obviously, it's all.
Who are you taking? Is it Pickett or
So
I know a guy to be a
I've
good
taken,
fit for
I
you guys,
have
but I'm
taken
not going to tell
Pickett.
you.
I have taken Pickett because that's who we've shown the most, love for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about Malik Willis. I'm going to be 100% honest with you.
Right.
I think that his arm is an absolute cannon. I think that he has a lot of the same issues as Jalen Hurts outside of that arm. He has a lot of the same strengths as Jalen outside of that arm. So, I like him, but I feel like you're just taking, like, you're literally just hoping that his arm is good. You know what I'm saying? That his arm can bring you to that next level. But me personally, I'd probably be looking at Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett. I like those two. I like Sam Howell because he is who he's been. Like, I feel like he's the only quarterback out of the top guys that is supposed to be in these top, quarterback conversations. I'm trying to think. That's really it right now that I would really go. Either Kenny Pickett or Matt Corral are probably my top two if I had to.
I got one, but I ain't gonna tell y'all, man, because y'all ain't putting that. Nah, but I think though he did have an injury, constant injury history though. But Carson Strong out of Nevada is a strong arm, air raid. So if you guys want to kind of go that route, you could probably get him on day 2. Yeah, I would say probably day 2. So that way it's not putting instant pressure over Jalen, but he's now peeking over his shoulder, right? Now your fan base gonna be loud as hell. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna see preseason games. Like I said, Carson Strong has one of the best arms in the draft. He just has some injury history. So, if you really want to go that route, so that way you're not wasting extreme draft capital on him, you're kind of sitting on behind Jalen a little bit, and if Jalen starts to sputter a little bit, then here comes a new hero that all Eagles fans will come in love. That's all y'all getting from me. That's all y'all getting from me, man.
Somebody the Eagles would like. I will say I think that after the Senior Bowl, people kind of soured on him as well. But I will say this: like, I've talked to a couple of the people from PFF about that Senior Bowl because I was kind of wanted to get their opinion on the quarterback play because I think it was really underwhelming. And the major, like the main thing that they kept on saying to me was that they felt like the coaches held these quarterbacks back a lot. They didn't want them doing anything crazy. A lot of the plays were very vanilla, very soft offense, schemes, nothing. They weren't trying to throw 50-yard bombs, and that kind of held people like Carson Strong back. But you still saw he had a nice little bit he has accuracy, got a nice arm, has nice mobility. You know what I'm saying? Definitely has some nice mobility. I could see I would be okay with the Eagles doing that. I think that at the very least, you have to put a little bit of pressure on Jalen Hurts.
Right. You got to sit somebody behind him. And I feel like y'all tried to do that, but it wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had four quarterbacks in your roster damn near. But you gotta press him a little bit, and the fan base will do all the rest of the pushing. You know what I'm saying? I know your fan base. Y'all do all the pushing. So if you draft the Carson Strong and they get a win so that he could be that guy, the fan base will start calling for it. But yeah, I agree when it comes to the Senior Bowl. Like, I know a lot of draft analysts like to go off the Senior Bowl, the game. I'm more about the drills and everything because also you got to think about the agents, bro. Like, we saw Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson's agent said, "Nah, bro, we got your value up. You ain't playing nothing." You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, because it's just too much of a risk. You don't want to risk injury and everything. So it's like a glorified Pro Bowl kind of game for players to kind of try to push their value up. So, like I said, I'm not concerned about, Carson Strong. These quarterbacks, they float, man. Like, I'm trying to do my top 50 board, it's like, I know I got to put some quarterbacks in there, but I really don't even want to, like, take them out because there's so many other good skill players in there. But yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting.
It comes down to who takes one first for me.
Yeah, and all this is gonna take is for one team to reach and pull that string, and you're like, all right, well then Pickett's gonna go too, then Desmond Rider, like, you know what I'm saying? Because teams are gonna get shaky, man. I'm missing that.
I forgot about Desmond Rider.
Yeah,
it's weird. Cincinnati is like they either out of nowhere fielded like the most NFL ready team in the world, or they are like just a Cinderella story, like crazy. Because there's 2 cornerbacks from that team, offensive linemen from that team. Obviously, the quarterback. I think their running back is a top 5, 5 projection, 5th round projection. I don't know why I couldn't say that, but you got a lot of good players on this team out of nowhere. Who goes to Cincinnati? But that's what's up, man. I love it. I mean,
this draft is going to be more about the trenches, man. Like, this is like a very defensive line, offensive line. Like, that's where it's really like I said, we're talking about wide receivers at 24, and also a complex positions to cornerbacks. You know what I'm saying? Because coming into the draft, it was like, all right, Derek Stingley Jr., that's number one. But then he kind of slid a little bit, and still haven't had his pro day yet, I don't believe. You had Sauce kind of move up, so that was that corner there. Kyrie Elim out of Florida, he's a guy that's kind of been all over the board who I thought was going to be extremely high.
Yeah.
So it's like those typical positions you normally lean on in the draft is kind of sketchy, where it's more built about defensive line, offensive line, and some safeties as well.
Yeah, and it's crazy because Kyrie Elim is somebody that I love. I think that he should be a top. I think he should be a top 20 pick easily. He probably won't be. He might not be. I think he's top 20 easily. I would love for the Eagles to grab him. Like, I would be over the moon about it. I think that people like Jermaine Johnson, maybe even Trayvon Walker, are just getting a little bit more hype just because of the versatility. I think that's really what it comes down to, because Trayvon Walker can damn near play all 11 positions outside of like cornerback. Like, he can play almost everything. So that's where I think, and like, Devin Lloyd is a guy that I like. I'm kind of lowering my love a little bit. Like that 4 or 5 or whatever the heck he ran.
Right.
That kind of hurt my feelings. I don't know, man. Like, I was really rooting for him. I really had his back, but now I feel like he's right there with, a lot of the other linebackers. I think there's a lot of linebackers.
Yeah, linebackers going to be interesting, man, because I know Nakobe Dean's the other one, and we saw what happened last year with Nick Bolton, like how just because of his height, he kind of got pushed back. But Nick Bolton's film was incredible last year, but everyone said he was too short, and he had a great rookie season for the Chiefs. So I just don't know. I just don't see linebackers sliding too far because of what we just did last year. Like, no one's going to want to miss out on the possibility of getting that type of Micah Parsons impact. So it's kind of like when Zeke went in 2016, like the running back values is drastically increasing the draft right now. I feel like Micah Parsons made linebackers hot a little bit. So you might see Lloyd go first and then Dean go earlier than expected. But yeah, the linebackers are a little bit difficult because it's like you kind of have 2 core guys and then you have a bunch of little cool guys, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, because even with Brandon Smith, like, he's a tremendous talent, but he's not a first round snatch out of Penn State.
And he's not really all around. That's the thing. Like, I think Devin Lloyd is the best all around guy, right? I feel like he's the guy that can do kind of a little bit of everything. This guy's been calling me good. But and then you look at Nakobe Dean. I think he can do a little bit of everything, but just not as well as like. And then everybody else has their specialty. Everybody's really good.
It's a lot of just specialty. Like,
it's really weird. Like, I love Brandon. I'm a Penn State fan. I'm sure you know. I love Brandon Smith. Don't get me wrong. And he right now is probably a better coverage guy than Micah was coming out. But Micah did everything else better. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything.
Micah is a pure raw talent. Like, Mike is one of those guys. He really is. Just go do something. And he's gonna get it done. But yeah, I agree. Like, even when you talk about like Troy Anderson and like Leo Chenal, like there's some of those guys like they're good, but it's just like a must-have. But it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think there's many must-haves in this draft, if I'm being 100%.
And that's the hard part. Like I said, I'm going to be out there actually in Vegas, and I keep telling everybody, you're getting 1 day of draft content from me, and after that, man, I'm going to kick it, man. So it's like, because I think last year's draft was just so loaded with everything. You're just like, I gotta have it. I gotta have that Pitts. I gotta have that Jamar Chase. Just like now, it's like, I ain't getting a Kobe Dean. Like, okay, great pick. All right, what's for dinner? You know what I'm saying? It's not
exactly
that. I mean, there is that guy, but ain't nobody getting him outside of Aiden Hutchinson. Like, that's that guy. You know what I'm saying? But like, there's zero chance anyone else is getting him. So it's just like, all right, you'll get some core pieces. So
it's gonna be a weird year this year. Are you gonna actually? I know you did the Super Bowl coverage. That was dope. Are you doing something like that for the draft as well?
Possibly, man. I'm debating it, man, because like I said, it's in Las Vegas, man. So it's like, I've had conversations because they're trying to get me my media credentials, but it's like I just kind of sometimes it's like I know we're content creators and reporters in some aspect, but it's like sometimes I just want to be a fan. I just want to be out and about amongst all the NFL fans. I want to boo my pick or cheer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be in a suit and tie, walking around with cameras, making sure I get all the proper setup. So I just don't think I'm gonna do it because next year is here in Kansas City. So then I can all right, I'm not on vacation. I can fully go in work mode and do all that, man, and dress up and shake hands. But it's like, man, for Vegas, bro, I'm gonna have a margarita, walk around, be a fan, and You know what I'm saying? And have a good time.
That's the only thing that worries me. That's the only thing that worries me because obviously I know this has people are probably like, what the hell are these boys talking about? Yeah,
all right. Why can't y'all just call each other and talk on the phone?
But no, I've been working on obviously getting my credentials for the Eagles and stuff. And that's the only thing that worries me is that I am a little bit, and not a little bit, I am biased. I am a fan, right? So I always have that little shade.
And that's the thing. So, now I'm working on the radio station 810 WHB ESPN Radio here in Kansas City on Sundays. And they're like, you got to remove the fandom. You can't be a Cowboys fan. Like, I'm always going to be that. I'm always going to bleed blue. I'm always going to bleed green. Like, it just is what it is. Like, we put too much into it to remove that bias and that fandom out of it. So it's like, I can't just come over here like, well, the Dell, like, you're always going to say we. Whenever you talk about the Eagles, you're going to say we, us, my team. Like, it's just going to be natural. And the same for me for Cowboys. It's like, it just is who he is. But yeah, you got to kind of remove that, man.
Yeah, I mean, I try to do that with the whole Derek Barnett pick yesterday. I was talking to. It's funny because like I talked to most of the reporters that I've had on here. I still talk to them,
Mm-hmm.
So like I asked them for suggestions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, let me put out a positive spin on the Derek Barnett. And when I tell you I got roasted, I got people right. Like, what are you talking about?
Because it's not you, it's not us. Like it doesn't come off. Like, and the reason why you have your supporters, I have my supporters, because they know that we are on fire for our teams. And I talked to Roma about this. I'm like, I'm not a Dallas Cowboys insider. I'm a Dallas Cowboy outsider. Like, you see me at games, you see me drinking a margarita, you see me at the draft, like you see me, and I'm also giving you incredible content and insight to our team. So it's like, you're a part of me. It's never just about me. Like, I don't want to be a reporter where it's like, Dallas Cowboys traded Amari Cooper. And I go on Twitter, hey guys, the Dallas Cowboys just traded Amari Cooper. Like yeah, we just saw it on ESPN. We saw it 1,000 times. Like, what I try to do is like, what's the why? You know what I'm saying? Why did we do it? I'm pissed. Why did we do that? Why did we get a fit? Why do we have to send them an incentivized pick as well? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where we're content creators. We're not reporters, because I just don't fit that mold.
Nah, facts. That's a fact. Yeah, we're just here to bring y'all news, to bring y'all value. You know what I'm saying?
Tell y'all stuff y'all already know. But that's why people come to us instead of going to the Colin Cowboys, because we go layers deep and they go. They know.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That whole draft conversation that we just had, if you ever have that with Skip Bayless or Colin, they would be like, who are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like, no, but we do that not only because we enjoy it, but it's to help improve our team. Like, sometimes, when I watch draft content, it's 2 a.m. Like, why am I doing this? Because I'm trying to find a gym to help this damn team out so I can stop, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's fun.
Mediocre. Yeah.
It's fun having that, like, having that opinion that not everybody has, has an agreement with, It's fun being that dude. I love it. I was saying the other day, I never have, opinions that people really just agree with. It's usually a fight to get people to agree with.
Right. And I always say, the day that I have thoughts and opinions that everyone agrees with, that means I fully sold out. That's when y'all know Tuck took the bag. Like, he's compromised. He's getting paid from somewhere. He just saying all the nice little things that everybody wants to hear, and taking his paycheck. Y'all know, like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know when I'll change.
Yeah, we'll be waiting for that. So let's put a nice little bow on all this talk. So obviously, like we said, it's not over yet. Far from over. Mm-hmm. What, in your opinion, has to be the next move for your Dallas Cowboys?
Well, I think that we have to start spending in free agents. Like, we just have to get started. Like, I feel like we have to start looking outside, find some optimal free agents that we could bring in. Preferably, I would like to have a left guard brought in. I know a lot of people are high on Kenyon Green in the draft, and also Zion Johnson out of Boston College, but what if they're not there? So it's like, why not use some of that money that you blew not signing Randy Gregory and go get you a quality guard that has some veteran leadership that you can plug in, and then you can draft your guard of the future. Also a swing tackle, possibly a center. So I just think the Cowboys have to get started. But also, man, I feel like the Cowboys standpoint, they have to, that retire Stephen Jones, like lock him in a broom closet. But also, silence all the noise, silence all the pollution. Like I said, we heard so much rumblings about the Amari Cooper situation before it even happened. I live here in Kansas City. that whole Tyreek Hill thing caught me off guard. I was like, what the hell is, like, one of my friends texted me, like, are we really trading Tyreek Hill? I'm like, hell no. Like, what's going on? And then it was just like, boom, the news broke that he could pursue a trade. Like 10 minutes later, he was gone. And so that's how you do it. You don't have to be so loud and tell everybody your every move and what you're thinking and, who could possibly, like, you don't have to be that. But the Cowboys constantly shoot themselves in the foot. And that's why they had to release La'el Collins versus getting something back from him from the Bengals, because they talk too damn much. And so I just think, we just got to get back to being football oriented, silence the noise, spending free agency. And the one thing, silver lining that Cowboys fans can kind of later sure is that we normally do historically great in the draft, because that's when it's Will McClay time. That's the one guy in the Cowboys front office who has some football operations, intelligence. That's his time is in the draft. So, we're almost getting there where we can get to Will McClay time, let him kill the draft. We'll get into rookie camp and OTAs and go from there. So,
all right. So Eagles fans, you hear that? We got to eliminate McClay. That's what we got.
They tried because multiple teams offered him the bag this year, and the Cowboys had like, nah, we had the match. So they matched that offer for that. You know what I'm saying? They did it for Will McClay.
When it comes to players, that's crazy.
DeMarcus Lawrence, hell no. Nah, you know what I'm saying? But Will McClay, all right, bro. Dan Quinn, how much are they offering you? Okay, we'll do that. Kellen Moore, their players, nah, man.
That's grimy. That's good. I will say this: the Eagles need to just get their heads out of their rear end. They need to stop being stubborn. The name of this, like the name that I put on the thumbnail was like the battle of the stubbornness, because that's really what it is right now. I feel like your team they're stuck in their ways, right? Whether it's fiscal, whether it's whatever contract, and we are too. We're just stuck in our ways that we don't want to pay these guys exorbitant amount of money. Sometimes it works, but most of the time it's just not. It's not going to. These are guys that want to play for money. That's why they are here. Right. So if another team offers them more money to do the same exact thing that you're offering them to do,
right,
they're probably going to go over there. So I really just think that it comes down to our front office getting their head out of their rear end and just using some of this money in smart ways. I think there's some guys still out there. I like the Kaiser White signing. I'm not, going crazy over it, but we need a safety. We need a wide receiver. If you can at least figure that out with the couple days of free agency that you have left, go into the, it's not a couple days, but, probably that you'll have good options out there. If you want to go get Stephen Gilmore, I know we've been connected to him. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I will take that. But make something happen. Make something shake. Don't just give me a bunch of shut up signings, because that's really all that I've gotten so far. So I think that the Eagles are in a good position because we're lucky we don't have to go crazy in the free agency. We can just sit on our laurels and say, look, we're giving Jalen Hurts one more year. We're not going crazy in free agency. Next year, if he's the guy, we'll do it then. I just don't want to do that as an Eagles fan. I want to make a clear decision and start making clear decisions. Stop saying one thing, doing the other. So that's where I'm at. I feel like we're at the same spot. We're kind of the same.
And like I said, as much as Cowboys fans and Eagles fans bump heads, we're really alike in a lot of different ways, and that's the crazy part, man. But it's complacency. It's like, I feel like the Cowboys are going to be a good team next year, but that's not enough. We'll be a good team. Do I think we're going to win 3 games? And no, it's not going to happen. 9, 10 games.
And then first round exit.
Yeah. And it will be. You can copy this video and repost at the same time next year. We're talking about the same thing. Not doing nothing in free agency, letting key players go. Stephen Jones not spending any money, and let's get prepared for the draft. And it's just a vicious cycle that we're stuck in, and it's exhausting. So,
facts. Yeah, it's just a sad circle, a sad cycle of life that we have grown accustomed to. Right. It's all because of
we ain't going nowhere. We're gonna tolerate it. We're gonna tolerate.
Exactly.
We had one guy on. I'm not sure if you saw on Cowboys Twitter. He wrote this goodbye letter. He became a Chargers fan, and like, y'all fan base is like our fan base, man. They was at this man's throat. I'm like, bro, just let him go. Just let him go. But like, at the end of the day, we ain't going nowhere. You gonna be out there at the games. I'm gonna be out there at the games. We're in the same jerseys. Repping the team.— because we are, once again, we are fans. And so it's like, right or wrong, I'm I'm be pissed about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
You just gotta hope it gets better next year.
Like your children, man. Sometimes my children do stupid stuff, but I'm still gonna love them. You know what I'm saying? He's still my child. You know, but
exactly. Well, hopefully the free agency gets a little. This is the time the Eagles shine. We like to get these bargain, basement, deals. So I do expect the Eagles to probably make one or two more signings. Like I said, we do have holes. So it just comes down to if they want to fill them with a veteran, because we do need a number 2 quarterback, and we do need a safety. So do you want to get a veteran, or do you want to get, a cheap guy that won't cost you much, won't, be there for more than a year or two? It's now that's the time. So, but we are going to end this up, man. We just hit an hour. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. And like we said before, we are not betting on this season between us two. I'm still waiting on my Micah Parsons shirt.
I got you. I'm gonna send you one just because you my guy. But I'm gonna send you something else to wear on your channel, though, man.
Say less. Let me know. I got you. But yeah, like I said, we're not making no bets. But you guys, if you want to make some bets, I'm saying college basketball is still going on. Obviously, the NFL season coming up. MLB is back. So if you want to make bets on anything, definitely go check out the link in the chat. It's pinned. For Bet USA, they're offering 125% deposit matching up to $2,500. Use code JOIN125 to get all that. But shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We still got 23 people in here. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. Go check out my brother Jtuck if you haven't already. But is there anything you want to say before we get out of here, brother?
Nah, man, I appreciate you, man. Keep doing your thing, doing incredible work as usual. We talk, man, and we're gonna line back up and get some of these mocks moving and get ready for the draft. And because I think I whooped y'all ass last year when I did the mocks, right?
Yeah, you did good.
Mock. The NFC's mocks. So we're but now y'all got a loaded clip, man. Y'all got a lot of ammo.
Exactly.
To outdo me, man. But
I'm leading the charge. I feel like I'm the main draft guy for my content creators as far as Eagles go. So
a lot of people want no hands on, man. There's a lot of people they disappear when it's draft season, man. But like I said, so we're definitely gonna circle back around and do this NFCs. Well, do we even need a Giants person, right? Because it doesn't even matter what they pick. You know what I'm saying? So it might just be us. We might pick for them. We probably
exactly. We'll try and help them become a real team.
Right. Yeah. Like, no, that's not what y'all need, man. This is what y'all really need, man. So we'll definitely link up.
Just move away from the computer, young man.
Right. Watch out. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I appreciate you, my guy. Keep doing incredible work, man.
You already know. Yes, sir. So other than that, we do have couple things coming on. Y'all will figure it out once it happens. I ain't even gonna give y'all all the goodies, but y'all know what it is, man. It is Fly Goes Fly, and we are out here. Peace.
B Scott with the Philadelphia
John
Eagles.
Dornbos here, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, we're just the Philadelphia Eagles.
Follow my guy Joe Castro on his YouTube/podcast channel.
Let's give a shout out to the Philly podcast.
Shout out Philly and my guy Joe Castro. So keep on doing great things, guys. Fly Eagles Fly.
Fly Eagles Fly.
Go Birds.